I did not see that coming, and yes, I know that's a freaking joke, alright? So, yeah, the Game Awards just wrapped up, and Joker from Persona 5 was announced as the first DLC character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I think caught all of us completely off guard. Well, me slightly less so, but I did predict the DLC character, not this one though. What is your guys' raw reaction to this?
What?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm still processing it. I still can't really believe it.
Right?
Persona 5
I can't.
is one of my favorite games, and it's not even associated with Nintendo at all. This is a PlayStation exclusive game. I guess there's Persona Q2 on 3DS, but no, this is the full-fledged Persona 5 main story character coming to Smash. Like, what?
It's wild because I don't think any of us ever predicted it. Like, I saw a few jokes when I did my Persona 5 dancing review, and somebody's like, Joker for Smash. I'm like, yeah, sure. But then you think about it, and Sega does own Atlas, so technically this is Sega's second character, sort of like how Capcom got Ryu and Mega Man, and Konami got Snake and Simon. So, wow.
Yeah. This is, like, actually mind-blowing. Like, I just so did not expect this. Obviously, none of us did, and really nobody did in general, but this is almost even weirder than Cloud. I mean, just because, Final Fantasy is obviously a mainstay, even though Cloud doesn't have a huge Nintendo history. He was in Theater Rhythm and stuff, but yeah, like, Cloud was crazy enough, but Persona, like, this is awesome and so unexpected. And yeah, when I first saw that, I was about 10 seconds ahead of you guys watching the stream, and when I saw that Smash logo, I'm like, what's going on here?
That is wild. Yeah, I mean, I was watching it too. I haven't played Persona, so I wasn't expecting this to be anything. So I kind of tuned out. I heard you yell Smash Brothers. I'm like, what? How'd that happen? What? So, I mean, that kind of touches on a larger point here. Like, how awesome is it that Nintendo pulled off this big of a surprise with no one knowing, no one leaking it as far as we know. There was no rumblings at all about this. How awesome is that?
I'm so glad this didn't leak. I'm so glad it didn't leak. Like, having that genuine surprise element of this, it could not have happened any other way and been as awesome as it is.
Absolutely. And I went into this trailer thinking, like, is Persona 5 coming to Switch? And then as it went on and it revealed it to Smash. It's like, whoa, I guess it kind of is coming to Switch, but not actually Persona 5. But if this did leak beforehand, there'd be no surprise going into this. And I think, to be honest, the Game Awards, while it's a great production, it was a little bit on the boring side. So this kind of sprints things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely true, and I mean, it didn't help that we were all waiting for, of course, Nintendo's moment, and they waited till the very end of the show to show it. But it's gonna be worth the wait, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Like, I perked up immediately. I was like, this is a slog. Like, there's some cool games getting announced here, and we'll talk about those. But just seeing the, like, ads for ads and just everything, just the Game Awards being the Game Awards, I was just losing all interest other than a few bright spots. And as soon as this hit, I'm like, ooh, you know what? Persona 5 on Smash, not on Smash, on Switch, that makes a lot of sense because Persona 5 was on the PlayStation 3. The Switch can totally handle Persona 5. So I was like, oh, cool, that makes all kinds of sense. Or I was like, or maybe they're advertising the dancing game for whatever reason. And no, Smash instead, and just like, what? Just like, yeah, it just blew my mind.
I guess Nintendo don't have to pay for a new voice actor, because Xander voices both Master Hand and the announcer in Smash.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just works out well for them. Maybe even recorded his lines while doing the Smash announcers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do wonder if part of the reason why they were able to keep it a secret is because with the DLC characters, they can, I think Sakurai has said before, it takes, I believe, 6 months to develop a character, and I guess we can discuss when we think this character will come out, but it probably won't be for at least several months from now, which means they can announce these characters pretty early into the development process, which reduces the chance of them leaking out. Because whereas with Smash itself, they had all kinds of people working on the game concurrently, along with people testing it, planning marketing for it. With it being focused on these single characters at a time, I think there's less chance of this news leaking out ahead of time.
And another really interesting element of this is that we know, because of what Sakurai has said, that Nintendo is picking all the DLC characters themselves. And if this is what they're leading with, I mean, that's crazy that they're leading with Joker from Persona 5. What does that say about the other 4?
So that's the thing, because again, I have not played Persona. This character doesn't really mean much to me at all, except for the fact that I was a little bit concerned when I heard Nintendo was going to be choosing the characters, because I'm like, oh man, what's this mean? Who are they going to end up with? Like Monty Mole or something, which actually would be awesome, so I take that back. but the fact that they chose a complete surprise, and one that is resonating with so many people, really makes me excited for, as you said, Ash, those other 4. Who could they be? I think Banjo now has a stronger chance than he had before, even.
Yeah, I have to agree, and just that thought makes me so excited that that's even more, maybe more possible than it was 30 minutes ago.
Right, yeah, that's pretty great. What do you guys expect from his play style? Because the trailer didn't really reveal much at all. It was a purely cinematic trailer. What are you hoping or expecting from this guy?
What's interesting about the trailer is no one died, actually. I think this is the first Smash trailer where everyone's just been
very true,
healthy from beginning to end.
Except for everyone's hopes for a Metroid announcement at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's 2 years in a row now. We've predicted Metroid Prime 4 at the Game Awards, and that hasn't happened.
Nope.
But yeah, as far as Joker as a playable character, it's interesting because his weapon of choice is like a small dagger. He doesn't throw it; he can just use it, and then he also has a pistol. So he's definitely a mix of close and far range, just not very powerful from far range. Plus, he has access to magic, so he's a very versatile character. They can pull from a lot of different things, especially because he can use different personas, so basically all magic spells are open to him depending on which persona you have. And so they could really just go in hundreds of different directions here for what's possible with him. Like, I couldn't even tell you what his recovery might be, but that's the curious thing. There's a lot of potential here. I think the easiest thing to nail down is his final smash, which is likely the pile-up where everybody's all the characters jump into one big smoke cloud of attack and deal massive damage for a finishing move. Mm-hmm. And if they could, if you actually get a smash and you get his little the showstopper thing at the end of it, oh, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be great. And as a character, he's also very nimble because he's a thief. So I guess he'll be quite a fast character, probably quite a lightweight one too. But as Derek said, there's so much potential. He can basically do anything in Persona 5. So, and I guess all of the demons and personas that you can use in his moveset can also be maybe used in assist trophies too, like the ones that didn't make it into his moveset. To have Jack Frost as an assist trophy or something like that.
That makes
there's so much potential for not just Persona, but Shin Megami Tensei and Atlas as a whole in Smash. There's so much you can do with him.
Do you guys think there's a chance that they could incorporate his wildcard ability into his moveset and give him access to multiple personas, or do you think he'll just have one that he uses across his moveset?
That's a hard one. They might do that where they have access to multiple personas, but then there's hundreds of personas, quite a lot of personas in Persona 5 and just the series. So there's any number of that they could choose. They could choose Jack Frost if they wanted to go for the mascot type character, or any of these others. But I have a feeling they'll probably stick to his main persona.
Yeah, same mindset here. I guess that's a lot of work to have all those different personas going on, and it might even throw the balance off the character too.
Well, that's par for the course for DLC characters in Smash, so...
True.
Yeah.
I'd like to see personas that aren't represented in his moveset just sort of make it into the game somehow, and there's a stage too. What's this stage going to be?
Oh man,
that's a good point.
I couldn't even tell you what the stage might be. There's so many iconic locations. The one that's probably the most likely, but I also hope it isn't, is probably Mementos, because that's one of the most boring designed places in the game. There's a lot more potential elsewhere, but if you could just be fighting in the middle of Tokyo, that'd be amazing.
I would love that. Yeah, that'd be really great.
Do we know for a fact that the stages tie into the characters?
We don't know. What we know is you get a character and you get a stage. We don't know necessarily if the stage is connected to the character, but I would assume.
Yeah,
if I had to guess, I would say they probably are.
Well, you know what else you get with these DLC packs is music. And that means we're getting Persona music rearrangements in Smash, which is awesome.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's just Persona 5 music? Or will we also get 4 and 3?
Two.
I think we might.
Probably just Persona 5, but I'd love if they expanded to 3 and 4.
Persona 4 music in Smash would be my dream.
Yeah, I think there's actually a chance we might see 4 and 3, because look at something like, Mega Man. We got a little Mega Man X music and then Star Force music and stuff like that. So I feel like it's possible, at least.
Yeah, the fact that Mega Man got Star Force and X music in Smash helps the case a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And we're probably going to get Mii fighter costumes with this pack too, so I'd assume they'll probably have other Persona protagonists, like you from Persona 4, maybe as a Mii costume. Which, that isn't the best thing to have, but it's still representing the franchise in other ways.
Yeah, and I mean, and I could also see, it's not, again, not exactly exciting, but I could also see some, spirits added along with these DLC packs too that are themed to the character getting released. So I could totally see some Persona spirits getting added as part of this update as well.
Oh, I mean, for
absolutely.
sure. I mean, we've already seen spirits being added to the game in the Day 1 update.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I fully expect tons more to be added, and that would make perfect sense. Or do you think this increases the chances of Persona 5 coming to the Switch itself? Like, do you think they may port it over?
It has to, right?
It has to, yeah.
Right.
You would think.
Yeah.
I
guess there's a chance. Persona Q2 is on 3DS, and that does feature the Joker. So it's possible that maybe they're just using that as a reference point to get this into Smash. Because I don't know if Sony have some kind of contract on the mainline Persona 5. I would assume not. Because to have him in Smash would probably mean they don't.
Yeah.
I think it was just traditionally that's where the audience was for Persona, so I think they just stuck with that because they just put it on the biggest console for Persona 3, actually all the Personas. So, yeah, I almost wonder if that's the case there.
I almost feel like it's assumed. I mean, obviously we don't know that it's coming, but it would be so strange for this to happen and then Persona 5 not be announced for Switch. I mean, hey, we did eventually get Final Fantasy 7 announced for Switch, right? So,
True.
And
we're still waiting on our Castlevania for Switch, so maybe?
Yeah, that's true. I almost feel like it has to happen at some point now. But, I mean, obviously it hasn't, and we don't have confirmation that it will, but I would be shocked if this didn't, if this wasn't followed by Persona 5 being announced for the Switch at some point in the future.
And why wouldn't it? Switch is a great fit for Persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think, John, not only Persona 5, but potentially 3 and 4, and not only that, Persona 3 portable version. So up-res that, make it actually better and all that stuff. Persona 4 Golden on the Switch.
Yeah.
There's still no real definitive version of Persona 3. The portable version has tons of quality of life improvements, but it also misses a lot of the free roaming aspects of the original. So if that came to Switch with all of the best features from both versions, I would be over the moon.
Same here.
So anything else about Joker, guys?
I mean, the fact that we got a stage based for him, we got spirits for him, we'd likely get music for him, and an amiibo.
Right.
Yes.
Yep, Joker amiibo.
So
this is just great. It's a character I would never have predicted in a million years.
Yeah.
I can't say that for a lot of Smash Ultimate characters. It feels like they're sort of filling in the fandom. We've been asking for K. Rool and Ridley and Simon for years. We've not been asking for Joker for years. Hardly anyone expected Joker to be in Smash. And if they did, they're probably joking. But yeah, he's actually here, and it really makes a statement. Nintendo are choosing these characters, and they chose this really wild one to start with. I can't wait to see what else they come up with.
Yeah.
That's what's exciting. It's really opened the floodgates for the possibilities, it seems like. What else could there be? So,
well, and we can only assume that they know that they have raised the bar of expectations for the next DLC characters. There's no way they can do this and then say, "Oh, well, we're surprised that if the next DLC is an expected Nintendo character." They have to know that they've raised people's expectations with this.
True, but I think that they also had to do that. They had to get something like Persona. Picking Joker for the VGAs fits in with that crowd. There's an excitement among that crowd and the people watching. So that fits in there. Plus, it's exciting to get people. It's one of those things that get people oh crap, I have to get this DLC pack now. You've showed me the first character, I'm sold. If I'm being honest, I'm sold on this DLC pack already. I was going to get it anyway, but now super so. And I think they can go a little bit low key for the next one, because I'm still expecting Rex and Pyra as DLC characters, and I believe they'll be the second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think Rex and Pyra probably have a great chance of making it in, especially as Sakurai loves Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But, yeah, how wild of it to have a third-party character who isn't associated with Nintendo be the first DLC character.
Yeah.
Not only that, Persona 5 is still pretty new. Like, it only came out a couple of years ago. Well, 2016, so... 2017, it was last year. This is a very new game. And, you know, when we look at Cloud, he's a legacy JRPG juggernaut. Whereas I don't think Joker is, at least not yet. He's still pretty fresh to the scene, so it's really wild to have him in this game.
I think the style is what sold it. Like, it was a phenomenon when Persona 5 came out, and even Sakurai himself said he was incredibly inspired by the menus and design work that was in Persona 5. So this makes a lot of sense. Like, I can see Sakurai being, yeah, oh sure, yeah, I'll do this.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't touched on too much real quick is what did you think of the trailer itself, of how they revealed this character being in Smash, and some of the cool little details in there, such as how you can see other Smash Brothers characters forming in, what is that?
The smoke. So you see the masks coming off, and that's how you would attack monsters in this game. And you'd rip off the mask, and then you get into the battle. So the mask comes off, and hey, his opponents are Mario, Link, Mega Man, who's, you know, all the characters that you see there. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice little reference.
Yeah, so what did you think of the trailer?
I love that it's still in the Persona 5 style, and that's kind of what it is throughout its entirety. It doesn't really show anything particularly new, but it gives you enough to sort of get a grasp of not only the character, but it also... you know, when you see this trailer, you don't necessarily think Smash Bros. Like, you go into it and you just sort of think it's Persona 5. Mm-hmm. And then I guess that's the whole twist, that it's actually a Smash trailer, but... I had no idea what I was watching until that envelope appeared, and that is just such a great way of teasing this guy. But yeah, we don't really know much. There's not a whole lot in this trailer to really go on.
Yeah, and that's actually what I loved about the trailer, whether it was so thoroughly Persona 5 branded that the whole time I was watching, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's like Persona 5 on Switch or something. It's got to be something Persona 5 related, but never once did my mind even float to Smash, and I think that's partially because the trailer was so thoroughly done in that signature Persona 5 style, and that's what I loved about it.
This is kind of dangerous, actually. It means literally every trailer we see in the future now, we're going to be like, this could be Smash Brothers,
yeah.
Call of Duty, maybe, you never know.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I love the fact that it completely caught us off guard, and it was just a fun way to wrap up the show, essentially. Well, that wasn't the only thing announced though during the Game Awards, because we got 3 other Switch games, one of which is an exclusive, being Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is being published by Nintendo, again, exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. What do you guys think about this one?
This was wild too. Nintendo getting an exclusive Marvel game. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance games were pretty big back in the day. There's 2 of them before this one. This is the 3rd. And I think we all can just assume that this franchise was done. But yeah, they brought it back as a Nintendo exclusive, developed by Team Ninja, of all people. And yeah, it looks pretty true to form of the original games, but I'm still just baffled that Nintendo got an exclusive Marvel game.
Yeah. I mean, there had to be some crazy money hatting going on there. I can only assume, but yeah, I don't have a big history with the Marvel Ultimate Alliance franchise, but of course I can appreciate just how crazy it is that the next big Marvel Ultimate Alliance game is Switch exclusive. That's a big deal, and I don't think anyone saw that coming. I certainly didn't. So, you know, good on Nintendo for kind of stealing they didn't have a huge presence, but the little presence they did have, they really stole the show.
Mm-hmm. I do have to say, I'm not, I think people already know I'm not a huge Marvel guy, and I'm pretty sure I played or did a guide for one of these when I worked at GameSpot, and I remember not being particularly enamored with the gameplay, so I'm happy for everyone that's happy for this game, but for me, I'm like, eh.
I mean, It's your kind of action RPG Diablo-esque game where you fight hordes of enemies as your favorite Marvel superhero, and that's the fun of it. You get to see their powers, you get to power them up, and there's the fun of it. I played the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance on PS3, but that was also during the beginning of the PS3 era, and so there's a ton of stupid motion control during this bomb minigame that I could not get past. It was just too hard, and it just wasn't accepting my motion control inputs, and boy, did that turn me off. But no, I like the base game. It's fun with friends. You do not want to play these games by yourself. You definitely want to have friends nearby. And fortunately, Switch is perfect for that.
That's true.
So it's simple. They're very simple games. There's not a whole lot of like nuance to them or anything like that. But for multiplayer fun, yeah, it's a good time.
It's also very cool that the X-Men are in this game, which is something we haven't really seen in a lot of Marvel video games recently. I'm sure they've appeared in some mobile games, but when we look at console games like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they were very absent from those, and it detracted from the whole experience, really. So yeah, it's great to see. They are basing the Marvel characters pretty much off their MCU counterparts. But then you got Wolverine, who is very much the comic book Wolverine.
Right.
So yeah, it's great to see those guys back in here, and part of the fun of the original games was the roster was huge, and yeah, that seems to be the gist with this one too. But you definitely get an MCU vibe, like that ending scene with Thanos. That was extremely pandery towards the Infinity War,
which kind of makes sense given the fact that the Russo brothers were actually at the Game Awards presenting.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, a lot of people thought they were going to be announcing the Square Enix Avengers game, but no, it was a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game.
What if they announce Wolverine as a second Smash Brothers DLC character?
I wouldn't even be surprised at this point.
Seriously.
I mean, he's been on Nintendo, so actually it'd be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sakurai's already said though that no character that didn't originate in a video game. So
Sakurai also said that Ridley was too big, so
it's also true.
Good point.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to another announcement. Mortal Kombat 11 was shown off with a brand new cinematic trailer, and also coming to Nintendo Switch, which is surprising because when was the last time we got a mainline Mortal Kombat game on Nintendo hardware? Was it Mortal Kombat 4 on the 64?
I think it might be.
It might have been Deadly Alliance and those games on GameCube. I'm not familiar because I got those on PlayStation 2, but that might be the last time because I know after GameCube, done.
Either way, we're talking multiple generations ago now, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean this is also, of course, comes right on the cusp of Mortal Kombat 10 or XL, whichever one you want to talk about, skipping Nintendo systems, both the Wii U and Switch. So this is a really cool surprise. I don't think I ever expected the next mainline Mortal Kombat game to appear on Switch, just because, usually they're graphical powerhouses, and those typically target PlayStation and Xbox. That's fine, but no, they're targeting all three systems, and I think that's a legitimately cool surprise.
And they didn't really announce this in the trailer. It was afterwards that we found out it was coming to Switch, and we were all really surprised. As Ash said, these games are usually quite graphically intensive. And it's definitely not the kind of game that you expect to come to Switch. It didn't even cross my mind. Watching that trailer, I thought this is definitely a PS4 and Xbox One game. Yeah. No chance it's coming to Switch. Yeah. But yeah,
I don't know how I feel about the game or anything like that. But I enjoyed the remake and I enjoyed XL. Mainly because Mortal Kombat actually has stories to their fighting games. So there's actually some fun single player content to enjoy there. And having that on the go on the Switch would be a nice change of pace. So I don't know what to say about this otherwise, because that trailer was just like, oh, okay, they literally can't die unless you apparently decapitate them. But I kind of also like the idea that they're going to explain how they can survive all this stuff. Because Raiden wasn't looking too bad just by getting stabbed in the face 16 times.
Well, and you can make the same argument for the X-ray attacks in Mortal Kombat 10. Even one of those X-ray attacks would kill someone outright, probably. So that's Mortal Kombat, though, right?
It is. It is kind of funny to see a game this violent, this gory in the trailer, even appear on the Nintendo console, which a lot of our younger viewers probably don't know this, or may not, is the fact that Nintendo, they were the ones that censored Mortal Kombat back on the Super Nintendo. They removed all the blood and turned it into sweat instead, or forced Activision to turn it into sweat. So it is kind of funny to see this completely hyper gory game now coming out at the same time on Switch as other platforms. So it just shows you how much Nintendo's changed and evolved.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo changed course on that pretty quickly, though, because the Genesis version of the original Mortal Kombat kicked the crap out of the SNES version, and so for Mortal Kombat 2, it's like, yeah, put in the blood.
Yeah, it's just I think there is a slight difference with the blood quality then versus now.
That is very true.
That's true. It is, like, Mortal Kombat has gotten incredibly gory. Like, the fatalities in 9 and 10 are, I mean, I have no problem with video game gore whatsoever, but even I'm like, oh man, it's pretty intense.
The wishbone? Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah.
I guess the only question is, what will the game actually look like? Because what we watched was a CG trailer. We don't know really what the actual in-game footage looks like, and we don't know what the Switch version will look like either.
Even
do you
worse
think
than
it's
that.
going to be? Do you think it's going to be like wildly downgraded, or are we kind of expecting something kind of on par with other versions?
Panic Button is going to develop it, and it'll look amazing.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great call, Derek. I think they absolutely will.
Well, speaking of graphics, there was one other game announced for at the Game Awards, being Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fuieled, being a remaster of the original game from PlayStation, in the same vein as the insane whatever. And this looks like a huge step up from the original. Like, it looks, just as Crash was, it looks fantastic. However, interestingly, at the Game Awards, it only had a PlayStation logo, but it was revealed afterward that, hey, it's coming to Nintendo Switch as well.
Yeah, it looks like Crash Team Racing comes out a month after Team Sonic Racing. So
That's rough.
Team Sonic Racing has a month to get their hooks in and show what they can do, and then Crash Team Racing is just going to barrel them over, because I love the original Crash Team Racing. It's this wonderful mix. I've never, you're going to kill me for this, but I've never played Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh, I should kill you for
Oh
this.
man.
Yeah. But from what I understand about Diddy, Crash Team Racing is sort of a combination between Mario Kart and Diddy as far as its single player. And I enjoyed the single player quite a bit. There's a lot to do, and then I remember playing with friends and my dad on it. It has some really great memories, and the fact that they are adding online to this, yes, this is a great move. I'm so excited for this remake.
I love the single player as well for Crash Team Racing. It's the multiplayer though that I'm not so big on. I prefer Diddy Kong Racing's multiplayer, and even Mario Kart 8's, even Mario Kart 64's, which was quite compromised when you're doing 4-player. I prefer that to Crash Team Racing. It's still the actual racing itself is fine. It's fun. But I think that game thrives more when you're playing on your own, because it has a very great adventure sort of styled adventure single-player mode, which is just much more than what Mario Kart 64 had, because that game was basically just multiplayer. So yeah, I'm more of a single-player guy with this game. I don't think multiplayer was really that exceptional.
Yeah, I personally, I can't comment too much because I haven't played it, but I've said on previous discussions I was never a huge Crash fan. That said, I have heard nothing but good things about Crash Team Racing over the years, and this seems like a great time to jump in and try it. So I actually, too, am excited about just seeing what all the hype is about, because I have heard pretty much across the board positive things about this game. And actually, John, you not really loving the multiplayer is one of the first times I've actually heard that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about, and the visual makeover is certainly going to help as well.
Yeah, I actually bought it on when it was re-released, I think, on PS2 on their PlayStation Store or whatever. And I played a little bit, but it was just so dated looking, I couldn't quite get into it. So I am looking forward to this. I can finally, relive what appears to be a classic game. Especially like hearing you guys talk about having a Diddy Kong Racing style or some aspects to it. That excites me because that's something we haven't really seen at all from other kart racers. Like it was those two games and that was it. And I love Diddy Kong Racing. So yeah, so I'm rather looking forward to this. And it looked fun in the trailer.
Yeah.
Looks really good too. Like the graphical upgrade is major.
Just the classic gameplay. There's a bit of a difference. There's some new content there because they showed Crash riding around in different carts, which was not in the original. And again, an aspect you'll probably like, Andre, is that there were boss races you went through. So you went through like cups, did those, and then you'd have like a boss that you'd have to defeat as well as in a race. And I just remember having a really good time with it. And it had that memorable Crash gameplay, and I'm really excited. I know a lot of other Crash fans are super excited for this as well, and this sort of just completes the Naughty Dog games that were on the original PlayStation. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Activision does with Crash Bandicoot from this point on, now that they're out of Naughty Dog classics. Are they going to start making their own? Are they going to try to remake the others? We'll see.
What's interesting about Team Racing as well is, Insane Trilogy was 3 games, whereas this is just 1. So yeah, you said just now, Jared, they've added some new stuff to this game. Do you think there's going to be anything major though? Like, do you reckon they're going to add like Spyro as a playable character?
That'd be cool, but I'm not sure. I mean, that would be an awesome unlockable. Like they're pricing this at $40, which is not bad. There's apparently a nitrous oxide edition, which will allow you to unlock the final boss, nitrous oxide, at the beginning, and I think have a few other extras and whatnot. But it doesn't seem totally necessary. $40 seems pretty fair for a remaster. Honestly, the Crash and Spyro remasters are a hell of a good deal on their own. But I don't know how much extra stuff they'll add to it. I think people are going to be fine just buying this game as is.
Yeah, I mean, the language of the press release tells me that they're probably not adding significant amounts of new content, and that it is really a from-the-ground-up remaster, but not necessarily them taking the chance to add new content. Although, playable Spyro would be really cool, I have to agree.
So, yeah, some pretty big announcements from this from the Game Awards. However, I believe we all predicted that there would be some Metroid presence here, and there wasn't. Especially, with I remember I began the predictions that we had for the Game Awards, asking the question if Reggie wearing a Metroid shirt a couple of months ago with a picture with Jeff Keighley meant anything. And as it turns out, like the Metroid pin years ago, it did not. So, what do you guys think? Are we be seeing anything in the Metroid games soon, or are you kind of writing it off for a while?
It's got to be soon.
I think so too.
Yeah, Prime 4 was like it was not last year but the year before, right? That they announced Prime 4.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a while. They've got to show it at some point soon. And I guess this probably wasn't the place for it. Smash is coming out. Well, I guess Smash is out right now. So they want to keep that momentum going. So announcing a DLC character was the right move. If you announce Metroid Prime 4 here, or show Metroid Prime 4 here, then you're taking the spotlight away from Smash. Mm-hmm. So I think it was the right move to show, just Smash at the Game Awards. But I think Metroid probably isn't too far away.
Yeah, like I'm thinking maybe like a direct after the new year or something, but I absolutely do think it's still coming soon, or at least, we're going to see new stuff on it soon. And I have to say, I still believe in Prime Trilogy. I still think that's coming. I mean, obviously we incorrectly predicted it would be tonight at the Game Awards. We were wrong about that, but I do still believe that it's coming, and I think, along with Metroid Prime 4, I think we'll see something on that fairly soon. It's just a gut feeling.
One final question for you guys. When do you think we're going to see the actual Persona DLC?
I'm just thinking like April or May. Because we know Piranha Plant's coming January, February. So if you space them out throughout the year, that leaves April, May is maybe a likely target date in my opinion.
What was the timetable Sakurai gave originally for the DLC?
He said that everything in DLC Pack 1 will be out by February 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ash there. I'll say, I'll give it a solid May. Like, no April business, just a solid May lock.
I'm going to go ambitious and say April. And that way we can get something in June, the post E3 type thing.
I think April makes sense, because if they're going to release 5 characters between Piranha Plant and February of 2020, they're probably going to want to space those out, right? So
You're right.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot of time. So I think April makes sense to get that going and release it next to you every couple of months, or the next several every couple of months.
I'm also expecting some sort of Persona on Switch announcement at some point. It has to happen before that. It makes sense. I was wrong about some sort of Castlevania collection coming to Switch before Smash is released, but dang it, I have to be right at some point with one of these collections.
You'll get one of these days.
My prediction is we'll get Persona 5 in January. That's when they'll announce it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's going to happen as well.
I think that makes sense. Well, guys, any other thoughts about the Game Awards? We've already gone longer than I expected we would here, so I don't know how much more we want to dive into about the awards themselves beyond what we've already said in our predictions. I guess God of War won, which surprised me. I thought Red Dead would take it, considering it swept everything else. So.
Took everything else,
exactly.
Really, the only other thing I'd want to point out is that at the beginning of the Game Awards, Nintendo showed a really cool-looking indie game called Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I just want to take a quick moment to read what Nintendo of America retweeted about it. Enjoy a euphoric music video dream about being awesome, riding motorcycles, skateboarding, dance battling, shooting lasers, wielding swords, and breaking hearts at 200 miles per hour. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds awesome.
It did look like a really fun trailer.
Yeah, I really loved what I saw of it. And of course, I'm really into the indie scene anyway, but I just was really captivated by what I saw in that trailer, and that description just sells me even more. So I just wanted to point that out.
There were some really cool looking games in the Game Awards, but I think the pacing of the show was maybe a little bit too bloated. Jeff put on an amazing production. Like, no one else in the industry could really do this. But they definitely needed to cut some parts out and maybe just make it a bit shorter. And then there were some awards that were too rapid fire, like you couldn't really sync them in. But it was a great show regardless. I mean, yeah, there were some down points, but this is the closest that gaming gets to this kind of awards show, and Jeff pulled it off.
Just a real quick thing, because I'm not sure if it's coming to the Switch or not, but I'm still excited for it. We got a trailer for Psychonauts 2, and that is looking much better than I thought it would. For some reason, I just had a feeling it couldn't live up to the original. And what I've seen so far, like, I'm intrigued. I want to see what they can do with this. And it's been a long enough time that it'll be fun to get to it. So, Psychonauts port on the Switch when.
Alright guys, any final thoughts at all, or are we about done here?
Never saw it coming.
I still can't quite believe that Joker was in Smash, but yeah, that's it for me.
It's pretty wild, I know.
Yeah.
Joker is wild. And with that, we're about done here. So thanks for watching. Of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for lots more about Smash Bros. Ultimate. Tons more. The game just came out, so we'll be there covering it all. And everything else Nintendo Switch as well. We'll catch you later. Bye.